would say that they were illegal aliens, and ICE was just doing its job.
There was a majority of Korean nationals from the 475.
U.S. President Donald Trump has been emphasizing the need for manufacturing in the United States. However, the recent immigration raid at Hyundai's Georgia battery plant has triggered a major diplomatic and economic fallout, exposing deep flaws in the U.S. work visa system and undermining President Trump's Made in U.S. manufacturing ambitions. On September 4th, 2025, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement conducted the largest single-site enforcement operation in Department of Homeland Security history at the Hyundai-LG Energy Solution Battery Factory under construction near Savannah, Georgia.
Yesterday, Homeland Security Investigations, in coordination with our law enforcement partners, executed a judicial search warrant as part of an ongoing criminal investigation into allegations of unlawful employment practices and serious federal crimes.
475 workers were detained, including more than 300 South Koreans, many of whom were engineers and equipment installers brought in for highly specialized tasks essential to launching the $4.3 billion electric vehicle battery project. Video footage showed detainees shackled with chains, sparking outrage in South Korea and among human rights activists.
The investigation resulted in the arrest of 475 individuals and is focused on ensuring accountability for those who violate the law and uphold the rule of law.
The Trump administration, continuing its hardline stance on immigration, ordered the raid citing alleged visa violations and illegal hiring practices. While ICE claimed probable cause for criminal law violations, attorneys for the detained workers argued that most were in the U.S. legally under the B-1 business visitor visa, intended for short-term, specialized work.
And then on the Hyundai incident in Georgia with the arrest of some workers, construction workers at the plant, have you heard any feedback from Hyundai?
I just heard about that a little while before the news conference, and I would say that they were illegal aliens, and ICE was just doing its job. But I know nothing about the instance. It happened a little while ago. Okay?
There has been some pushback on that, though, from South Korea already, and of course, they pledged to invest $150 billion in the U.S. when they were just here, last week. Are you concerned?
Well, and they have the right to sell cars and things in our country. It's not like a one-sided deal.
Are you concerned at all about, your immigration agenda potentially clashing with these economic goals?
Well, we want to get along with other countries, and we want to have a great, stable workforce. And we had, as I understand it, a lot of illegal aliens, some not the best of people, but we had a lot of illegal aliens working there. So, look, they're doing their job. That's what they have to do. These are people that came through with Biden. They came through illegally. They came into our country, so we have to do our job.
Hyundai stated that none of those detained were directly employed by Hyundai Motor Company, suggesting that most workers were subcontractors. LG Energy Solution, which had dozens of its staff detained, as well as around 250 it believes were hired by its contractor, declined to provide details of what visas they were using, citing an ongoing investigation. But according to experts, the majority of detained South Korean workers were likely to have been on visas that do not allow for hands-on building work. U.S. authorities, who had a search warrant, said the arrested workers were working or living in the country illegally.
As we had determined through our investigation in advance and certainly experienced yesterday, there was a network of subcontractors and subcontractors for the subcontractors there. So the employees worked for a variety of different companies that were on the site. It was not just the parent company, but also subcontractors, and we're unveiling that whole network.
But some of them were for the parent company, is that right? The battery, HLGA battery?
Yeah, we continue to work on the investigation of who exactly worked for what company.
Trump even took to Truth Social to say, "Your investments are welcome, and we encourage you to legally bring your very smart people with great technical talent to build world-class products, and we will make it quickly and legally possible for you to do so."
It's a battery factory in that case, as I'm told. And, when they're building batteries, if you don't have people in this country right now that know about batteries, maybe we should help them along and let some people come in and train our people to do, complex things, whether it's battery manufacturing or computer manufacturing. or building ships. So we're going to look at that whole situation. We have a lot of industries that we don't have anymore, and we're going to have to train people. And the way you train people is bring people in that know what they're doing and let them stay for a little while and help. So I'm going to look at that. It's a very interesting situation that took place in Georgia. And we heard about it yesterday. At the same time, ICE was doing right because they were here illegally. But we do have to work something out where we bring in experts so that our people can be trained so that they can do it themselves. Does that make sense?
The raid has shocked and angered South Korea, a key U.S. ally. South Korean officials, including the foreign minister and top presidential aides, have condemned the detentions as a betrayal and violation of international human rights standards. Protests erupted in Seoul, with activists demanding accountability and respect for workers' rights. The South Korean government is working to repatriate the detainees, with a charter flight scheduled to bring them home. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung's office said that detainees will be returned to South Korea on a chartered flight.
We will devote meticulous efforts to ensure that our people do not face any disadvantages. There was a request for large-scale investment, and we responded to it. Therefore, to realize this, we emphasize to the U.S. side that the visa issue is a priority task, and we will continue to discuss specific measures for this. As a result of the swift and united response by government ministries, economic organizations, and companies, negotiations for the release of the detained workers have been concluded. Only administrative procedures remain, and as soon as these are completed, a chartered flight will depart to bring our citizens back. Our government will remain vigilant and respond responsibly until all our citizens are returned safely.
The raid has paralyzed operations at the Hyundai-LG battery site, threatening the timeline for a project central to U.S. electric vehicle ambitions. The plant was expected to play a pivotal role in Trump's Made in U.S. vision, boosting domestic manufacturing and reducing reliance on foreign supply chains. Instead, the crackdown has gutted the workforce, delayed construction till the first half of 2026, and sent a chilling message to foreign investors. The incident highlights systemic problems with the U.S. work visa system. B-1 business visitor visas are often used for short-term, specialized work, but their ambiguous rules leave foreign workers vulnerable to enforcement actions. The complexity and unpredictability of U.S. immigration policy make it difficult for global companies to deploy skilled workers for critical projects. The raid has exposed the tension between economic nationalism and the practical needs of high-tech manufacturing, where foreign expertise is often indispensable. South Korea, despite maintaining a free trade agreement with the U.S. since 2012, lacks a dedicated visa allocation, unlike other FTA nations. Trump's push for manufacturing jobs and investment in the U.S. is being undermined by aggressive immigration enforcement and visa hurdles. Foreign companies like Hyundai and LG face uncertainty and reputational risk when sending workers to the U.S. The loss of specialized South Korean engineers and installers has stalled the battery plant's progress, jeopardizing supply chain goals and billions in investment. The diplomatic fallout threatens broader U.S.-South Korea economic cooperation, including a promised $350 billion investment fund that is now stalled.